there. Are you there? It's me. I am here. I've been talking to myself for 3 minutes because this is the first time I have had to run StreamYard. If you're here, please chime in to the chat and let me know. As you are surely aware, the intrepid dungeon master of Nat 21 Adventures and the mayor is on his way to Texas. So I am here trying to figure out all the things for the first time myself. So I am Madam Onça. I am the hardest working woman in show business.com, and I am the author and co-author and artist of the World Spirit Tarot. So I am here tonight learning to use the interwebs in brand new ways. I hope I didn't lose anybody there with my 3 minutes of techno glitch. I hope you find me. Since we usually have a sort of regular crowd. I know some of you were here. Hello. Chime on into the chats if you're here. I know some of you were here earlier today during the Creating with the Crew, where I did a bit of a drive-by chickening. I wasn't able to stay and be integral to the proceedings, but it was nice to come by with our little chick and see everything everyone was doing. So my thanks to Nat 21 Adventures, as always, for having me here and having created this platform and this community during these times, and also to Reverend Tommy, who not only helps so much on the back end, but today was actually up on the front end since he was there in Creating with the Crew, showing us some of the fantastic glass slumping, which is a real thing that he does. So if you're just arriving, I am Madam Onça, and I am an author and a tarot artist and a member of the Nat 21 fam and community. I am also my own technical operator tonight, so my apologies if there are some glitches along the way. But thank you for being here, and again, just let me know you're here so that I have a sense of what folks' interesting questions are. It is my habit during this show to do a bit of a lesson. I like to share some of what I've learned over 20 years of fiddling with cards, talk about technique. Sometimes we rant a little bit because that is a thing we do in Awesome Town, is share our values and perhaps confront new ideas. And then I also like to read cards for folks who want it and need it. Tomorrow I will be doing a first of the month live stream as well, reading cards for the world. And that will be over on my Facebook page, which is World Spirit Tarot with Madam Onça, and on my YouTube, which is basically the same thing. So that's all happening tomorrow, starting at 10 Eastern. In the onslaught of announcements, let me also let you know, if you're just arriving, I'm Madam Onça. And in addition to what I'm doing tonight and the live stream I'll be doing tomorrow, reading sort of cards for the people, next Thursday, which is the 8th, I will be teaching a series of workshops. It's 4 weeks. So anybody who's interested in learning more about the tarot in a bit more of a systematic way, there's a fundamentals class at 7. There is a special topic where we can get into some of the weird stuff, the fun stuff about cards at 8. That starts next week on the 8th. That will be through Zoom. It will not be in this format. So reach out to me if you're interested in that sort of thing. And yeah, and that is a pay what you can. So, as ever, I am here to try to make this accessible. Am I not on Twitch right now? I'm supposed to be on Twitch. Is it not on Twitch? Tell me if I'm on Twitch. I should be. What? See? Technical difficulties. Twitch. Thank you. Oh, I wonder if I can figure that out now. Thank you, Michael. Let's see. Let's see if I can fix that right now. That is my second opportunity to lose track of my community tonight. Aha. How about now? Let's see. Let's see what happens. We've had people come in and out, so probably... Michael, let me know if it's on Twitch now, because it should be. Oh, golly, I'm going to give the same speech 3 times. So let me know if it is now on Twitch, because it's not actually allowed to be on Facebook, I don't think. I'm not sure. I'm Madam Onça. I'm delighted to be here with you, and everyone is dispersing to the 5 points to start working in this brave new not normal that we are. So I am here alone tonight trying to run my own tech, hence the challenges we've had. So if you're with me still, in spite of it all, I thank you. Aha! Thank you so much. Yes, apparently I had us in Facebook and on YouTube, but not on the Twitch. So thank you for being here. Yeah, Mayor's on the road, and Carmel also is on the road. So I find myself here confronted not only with the tech I have never run before, but also different tech because, of course, some of our more standard issue equipment has headed off with the mayor in order to make Net 21 stay on track. So the important parts are, hi, if you're just getting here, I'm Madame Onça. I am an artist. I am an author, and I am a person who has spent about 20 years fiddling around with tarot cards, so it's something I know something about. I also have the pleasure of doing cameos as Thekla, the Minotaur Mummy Lady on Nat 21 Adventures. Somehow when I'm Thekla, I am better spoken. So happy to be here now. Tonight, when I get to the tarot card part, we're going to be working with the eights. So let me know if you have any questions. Drop all that stuff in the chat. I'm happy to know you're here. Thank you for sticking with me while we got all this stuff sorted out. Now I'm afraid that I've got people, also in the Facebook that I can't find. And goodness gracious, I won't even know how to monitor those comments. So I'll do my best. Hey, good. Look, you found us too. Welcome. Yeah, I'm in charge of the tech tonight, and I've never done this before. Everybody else has had a whole year to learn how to run all the things and the keys and the stuff. So welcome. It's me, Madame Onça. Awfully glad to have you. I even took a shower. And I was realizing as I was sitting here, I wore blue, just feeling sort of festive. But if you catch this at the right angle, I'm getting definite loon vibes. It sort of looked like, as my Ren Fair top slid down, I definitely looked like more of a naturalist, let's say. So if I keep pulling up my sleeves, it's so that the internet doesn't think that I'm naked. Well, hi. So pull up your cup of tea, pull up your glass of wine, pull up your alkaline water, whatever it is that you do when you're trying to get your brain around learning things. This is the part where I'm going to talk a little bit about cards. As always, there'll be some digressions. Right? See? There'll be some digressions. I do, because I'm running all of the things, I've got comments over here and branding over here. If I keep looking this way, it's just because I'm trying to also be there for you. So anyway, the eights. Au naturel, indeed. I am a bit of a naturist by nature, but certainly not on the internet. I'm a bikini gal anyway. So when we talk about the eights in tarot, the eights are the ultra stable table. The fours, when they come up, they tend to describe, metaphorically speaking, using sort of the language of dream, as it were. If you have ever read anything by Jung, that's a great opportunity to sort of think about how the tarot might be useful for us. Even if you don't believe in magic and all that sort of thing, it is a visual language that has evolved from our shared cultural experience and our primal dream language to be a metaphorical way to understand what's happening in our lives. So it's always useful to have a way to bounce things back at ourselves. The tarot does that. Bonjour, hi. When we get to the eights numerically, so fours are very stable. It is literally the table. It has a sense of completion. Then there's the five, it's disruptive. We come to the six, there is a renewal of that sense of stability. Like you're a little wiser now, you have found some new balance and poise. Then we have the sevens. The sevens are the vortex. Again, the tables are flipped. There's some new information. There's a sense of depth and evaluation. That's what we talked about last week. And today we find ourselves at the eight. The eights, numerically, again, they reiterate and double down on this notion of stability. They can have motion described in them, but the eights in the tarot tend to talk about a sense of accomplishment or a sense of directionality, perhaps. So again, it can be action, but but there's a sense of like determination perhaps built into it. Again, it's essentially you're meeting challenges, but you're meeting it with wisdom, which you may not have had in the cards that came to us earlier. So look at me. I'm going to use my fancy hand over here to bring up the other thing. Do that. Add to screen. Ha! Look at that. I did it. Wait. Hold, please. They make it look so easy. Okay. Let's try that again. Now we're going to try that again. How about now? This one? Sorry. If it gets really how about now? I know what we'll do. Why? Does it work now? Somehow, I just can't have myself. How about now? Uh-oh. I got a plan. How about this? How about that? Can you hear me? Is it shrieking? You'd be so impressed. I'm surrounded by cameras and cords. Let's start talking about cards. If you can hear me now. It's true. Thank you. I will. Is there an echo still? I don't want it to be intolerable. I can always come back. Okay, great. Whew. Sorry. I have all this other stuff, but next time I'll have some more support. Let's talk about eights, shall we? So eights are super stable. This is very old school. At the beginning of the pandemic, when I had to lean into the Facebook to do these things. Here we go. Here we see an image. Pentacles represent the material continuum, the great material continuum, as the Ferengi say. It is the worlds of things and stuff. It's practical matters. It's security. And we see here 8 pentacles being lovingly crafted by 3 generations of artisans. This is to me, a very sort of Ren Fair feeling image. Also, there's a kitty. So if there's any tuxedo cat lovers out there, we've got one right here. Also, I love the hair on this guy's arm. Just says a lot about just people being awesome just the way they are. So when this card comes up, we have the well-rounded 8. We're talking about stability. We're talking about accomplishment. Because it's pentacles, we're talking about security and matters of managing resources. When this card comes up, it is often describing a situation in your life, a moment when you have sufficient resources to be not just in a position to share in a stone soup sort of way, like I gave you something, and it's not mere physical generosity. That's what I'm trying to say. It is a card about the yes, absolutely. A Picard in the middle, exactly, Alec. I'm supposed to know how to post those things, aren't I? Ha! Look at that, I did it. Absolutely. There's our smart bald man. So when this card comes up, it talks about not having mere material generosity, but also a sense of legacy. Like perhaps you are in a position to turn around and teach someone else your ways, to teach someone else your skills. Perhaps you are the person who is ready to move to the next level. So there's a quality of sort of apprentice, journeyman, master in here. And it's a really, it's a powerful and wonderful card in that way. And as an artisan, a person who's used chisels many an hour in my life, I love this card. So when it comes up, it's a great card for taking a project to the next level, for making a business or an entrepreneurship bigger than just you. It's very much about expansiveness. So Now we find ourselves coming to the sword. So, swords, as you may recall from previous weeks, are intellect, boundaries, communication, and we see here that eight. Now, this is a particularly moody card. This imagery comes to us very much from the Rider Waite Smith deck, an example of which I will show you in a few minutes. You can see here she appears to be all bound up and blindfolded. She's sort of stumbling through a perilous landscape. It is clear that although being a swords card, she is trying to be a creature of logic. Mere I don't want to say mere logic, but you cannot rely on what you see, let's say, in order to help you navigate this situation. There are unseen forces at work. Now, if you look a little closer at this person who is all tied up, you will see that she doesn't appear to be tied up very effectively. It is as if she has essentially wrapped herself up and then run out the door. Like she could be tangled in toilet paper for all this looks like it's actually limiting. However, she is in real harm because, of course, she's navigating this uncertain landscape that is literally littered with swords. So when this card comes up frequently, the message is, oh, here you are doing that thing you do. You have put yourself in that difficult situation that you have before. We all have habits, and this speaks to some sort of a habit of decision making, some sort of habit of communication that puts us in a difficult place where we cannot see what is in front of our own eyes, and we are literally stumbling blindly through the dark. So, although eights tend to be really stable, the stability that is implied in this card is really that if she can avoid panicking because of going, oh, it's that thing I do. Oh no, here I am. I'm totally triggered. If she says, yes, I'm only in danger if I run, I can either unwind this roll of toilet paper or gauze or whatever I have wrapped around me ever so ineffectively. I can listen carefully. There's owls, there's other things afoot, so I can use my other senses. There's plenty of light. It's not a matter of being lost in the dark. She's just rendered some of her abilities ineffective by the choices she has made. And if she were to run blindly through the forest, of course, she's going to cut her feet and bonk into trees and stones and so forth. But were she to move with caution, gradually moving across the ground, she's not in any immediate danger. So when this card comes up, it really says, you doing that thing you do. Anytime you want to set that bad habit down, you consider that. You might want to set those bad habits down. But meanwhile, don't just rely on logic and self-control, perhaps, in order to navigate your challenging situations. And thank you, Blondie. It is a lovely card. And I'll show you the traditional version of it in a minute. Now, eights, again, very stable. I'm not used to being quite this close to the screen, but here we are. Eights, this card, however, is one of the few cards in the deck that is not represented by a person. You'll notice that the graphics in nearly all of these cards are somehow they are illustrated in the manner of a graphic novel. Like there's a person acting out the scene so that you might be able to tell what it's about. This card, there are no people. It's not even about that. This card is passion, fire, drive, ambition. And when this card comes up, it literally means things want to be happening fast. And if you're just joining us, I'm Madame Onça, and I am the artist and co-author of the World Spirit Tarot, which is what this is. I'll also be showing another traditional deck in a few minutes. Exactly, meteor shower. Oh, speaking of which, meteor showers have been very on our minds over here. I'll tell you more in a minute. So in the old days, back in the backpack, when this card came up, they used to say, check the mailbox. Like it suggests messages incoming, like you might get something in the mail. Now that we have instantaneous messaging, it can literally mean, your life can change in a moment's notice, in the span of a text message, right? So I always think of this card as incoming. It is time to be prepared to pivot, to respond with passion and enthusiasm to whatever is coming your way, because things want to happen quick. So meteors have been in my mind because there is They Might Be Giants song that I've been teaching Carmel about meteors. And you'll probably know it if you are that kind of a nerd. One of the best live concerts I've ever seen, actually. They Might Be Giants. Never saw so many people packed in to listen to an accordion player. Shooting star or meteor, why do they shine so bright? The friction as it falls through air produces heat and light. So it's a round that we've been learning over here. So meteors. Thank you for saying that, Bill. So then we come to the last of our 8 cards for the day. This is another card that I just love. I love what it's about. I love the anecdotal stories that I have about it from years of working with people, and the just the way this particular card came out. For anybody who doesn't know, these are all block prints, which is to say that I drew them in reverse and carved them out so they were black and white prints, and then hand colored them. So there's a lot of steps along the way wherein you might not know how it's going to turn out. So when you make that print, you get to see what it looks like in black and white, and then you add the color. It's an ongoing process of revelation, like the tarot itself. So cups are about connectivity. They are splashy water, and they are about our emotional state. So they often speak to our relationships, be those platonic, romantic, our relationship with self, our relationship with spirit, if you go in for that sort of thing. So this card, as you can see, there are what appear to be 3 very concrete, very tangible cups right here. And yet in the waves, there are 5 implied. This card speaks to the learned experience that tells you there is more to your life. It's like the phantom limb. It's the part of your life where you go, is that all there is? What have I not done? What is an essential part of myself or my experience that I will need to take action in order to bring into my life? So this person here has apparently, with their staff and their bindle stiff, their little bundle, they are headed around the corner. They are setting out literally on a vision quest to figure out what that missing piece is in their life. I've had this card come up for folks that were headed out on vision quest. I've had folks get this card who were thinking about going to divinity school to leave their corporate job and join the ministry. It's very much a card of seeking to know thyself and know the world and figure out what parts of your needs have not yet been met. So it's funny. It always makes me think of, I guess it's a Peggy Lee song, which I performed many years ago. Long story. Is that all there is? Is that all there is to life? Then let's keep dancing. So this is such a sweet and can be very prickly card. It's definitely like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to make your life happen? What are you going to do to find those phantom limbs that last? What are you going to do to fill those cups? You know they're out there. So it's a great card. All of these cards ask you to do some heavy lifting. So I guess whereas the 4s tend to be just stable, like, time to have a party, time to take a nap, time to count your blessings and reevaluate your relationship to security. These cards all say, now that you've done that, now that you know yourself, now that you have mastered the realm of ambition, or you know yourself as an emotional entity and so forth, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to get better at it? So I'm going to share with you now this is a more traditional version. Again, if you have any questions, throw them up in the comments. And I'm sorry if I drove anybody off with my wailing feedback there. So here's the traditional version of this card. There's the artisan hard at work. This is, to be fair, this is a modern interpretation of the old card, but if you're familiar with the traditional deck, it looks just like that. There's that. And let's see. Here's the traditional version of the person navigating the boggy places. You can see it's like she's tied up, but I mean, is she though? Or is she just kind of a mess? And this landscape actually reminds me very much of Ravenglass, which if you end up joining us on the D&D trips to the Lake District in England next year, when travel is safe, very much reminds me of that sort of boggy part of the world that's like partway between the sea and the land. Oh, thank you very much. And here's, thank you, Blondie. And there's this is the traditional version. Wands, but I was like, wands are fire. Like, why are they? I mean, flaming arrows. Why are they not on fire? So I thought the urgency, and the strident nature of the wands were better explained in this way. And thank you, Blondie. Thank you. I have to remember to do all of the things. Yes, and I like the meteor shower comment there. Yes, and then here we have this sort of vision quest card. So we see there's the traditional version. Now I do really like this. It is very moody and very evocative. I just wanted to, because it was important to me in making my own art, to include a variety of geographies as well. I lived in Puerto Rico long, long, long ago, and I lived in a really remote part of Puerto Rico. Like, you could go to the beach and not see another human all day. I spent an entire day figuring out how to open a coconut that washed up on the beach with a shell and a rock because I hadn't brought a machete, and there was nobody there to watch me but a bunch of pelicans. So I wanted to, again, incorporate like different geographies, so it wasn't very Eurocentric. So that, hence the placement of this idea, someplace balmy and temperate. If you have any questions, let me know. I have no idea where we are in time this time around because, of course, I'm absolutely at a loss without a person to help with all these things. Okay, it's 8:30, so I've got time to answer questions if you have them. And I also wanted to share another deck with you too, if nobody has any immediate questions. So it is my habit to share with you my deck, which I know the most about, and it is well grounded in history. So in learning and becoming familiar with my deck, you are learning information that is useful for you and will transfer to any other traditional deck that you pick up. If that's a Rider-Waite deck, I have one of those decks. It's like a Solidibusca deck or something. I have one of those decks that's like 300 or 400 years old. I'm going to say this, it's practically not usable for our purposes because there's so many cultural iterations away from our daily experience. But I mean, it's still, you can look at it and go, oh, that's clearly, those are the kings and those are the queens and so forth. So, I try to present you a variety of different decks. The Gummy Bear deck, of course, as a modern iteration. But now I'm going to share with you one of the funner, sillier decks. And I encourage you to run on out and see if you can find one of these somewhere in some novelty pile somewhere. This is the Fantod pack. Now, if you're a fan of Edward Gorey, and who isn't, then you might recognize his very distinct style of art. And if you know him as I first did from Masterpiece Theater, by all means, throw that down in the chat. If you remember long ago and far away, it was like on PBS or something. There was a Mystery Science Theater. No, not Mystery Science Theater. Mystery Masterpiece Theater. Anyway, it was all very serious, and he animated the beginning, and there was this swooning figure in the graveyard going, oh, oh. The art was great and very striking. So Edward Gorey, he's an amazing artist. He made this tarot deck. Mystery Science Theater. However, it is not actually a tarot deck. It is a divination deck. In fact, Fantod essentially means like wacky satire. He made this deck, and it is purely morbid. So this would be your good April Fool's deck. I'll share with you some of the art. And before I do any kind of serious readings for anyone, I want to share with you some of the cards, because you would have to be a person of such incredible lifelong accomplishment as Edward Gorey to dare to make this deck. So again, there are tarot decks, and then there are other like oracle decks and other cartomantic decks. So this is not a tarot deck. It doesn't have the normal structure. It has this many cards. I don't know off the top of my head how many that is. It's probably 25. Yes, this is the Deck of Doom for sure, Bill. Because even the art there, it's like, what is that about? There's some dreadful, beaky, plague doctor-y looking penguin with maybe like a skull and some wine and maybe some poison on a unicycle. Like, what is happening? So I'm going to pull a few cards. Were my other camera working, I would show you them all laid out. But we'll pull a few. Imagine, if you were, that you You were looking for some very serious advice. And we were to pull 3 cards. And I have no idea which cards I'm pulling. I will share the art with you, and I will read the definitions, which are an essential part of this. So he made his own independent system of divination. As I said, it is pure doom. There is nothing but doom in this deck. So you have to have a sense of humor. Little tiny book. By the way, in the publishing world, this is actually known as the Little White Book. The little book that comes with your tarot cards. This one has a hardcover, which makes it fancy. It's a fancy little white book. So you go through your process of divination. You pull your cards. We get the blue dog, which I will share with you. We get the effigy, which is dreadful, and a repeat. Let's see. I have 2 different decks. Apparently one is mixed in there. And the bottle. So here's the blue dog. Sort of looks like a vaguely menacing, like a French bulldog. Like it's like Rusty and Dusty, sort of. Doom, de doom, doom. Yes, so we see that. Here's the effigy. Sort of it's like the mix between the ghosts that we made as children out of Kleenex and cotton balls, but also a creepy scarecrow. And the bottle, which another one of his little crypto cryptids in the bottom there. Now I'm going to read this. I want you to imagine, friends, that we have sat down to a very serious Victorian tea party. Pretend that your hostess looks and sounds like Hypatia's mother. And I'm going to read to you what this says. You see, we're going to start with the blue dog. And if you are new here, my name is Madame Onça, and I don't usually do what I'm doing now. Usually this is all very serious. The blue dog. Oh, this is the part I put my glasses on. The blue dog in the blue glasses. October. Loss of one of the senses. Weltschmerz. Unnatural vice. Disorders of the knee. Diseases of the tongue. Disturbances. An accident in a garage. Dementia. Fraud. A quarrel. And wispiness. So when you get this, you may succumb to unnatural vice. An accident in a garage. Wispiness. It's so clever. And I have to admit, I do not remember what Weltschmerz means. I have actually looked it up before. Every one of his definitions has some words that will make you go digging for your thesaurus. Now the effigy. That's this one. August. A sexual problem. Assailed honor. Unpleasant secrets. Amnesia. Broken hopes. A misalliance. Rashness. Sounds itchy. The yaws. Clouded mentality. Abrasions. Financial losses, or an accident in a stadium. It's so silly. Hopefully none of these things come true for you, my friends. But if you have the sort of wordy, nerdy friends who enjoy the game Gloom, you should probably pick one of these up. And Bill says, we have a local legend about a ghostly dog that heralds doom. Around here, if there's a dog in the yard, it's doom because they're coming for my birds. Let's see, and now I shall read the bottle. December. Melancholia. Itching. Unfortunate publicity. A disregarded warning. Irregularity. An accident on a bicycle. Loss of feeling. Flukes. To which I'm not sure if they mean the flukes of a whale, flukes the parasite, flukes of, sort of unexpected incidents. Could be any of those, because that's how dreadful this is. Vexation, intrigue, abandonment, and frustrated hopes. So, all the way through, it is silly. Now I'm going to share with you some of the other art. And then I promise I'll go read some actual tarot cards. Here is the Burning Head. Now, I will say, from a cartomancer's point of view, The quality of these cards physically is fantastic. Now, the Edward Gorey estate is well provisioned. He lived in Cape Cod. His house was called Elephant House. He's quite a character. He went to every single night of the ballet, every single night for years and years and years. He would go to the ballet every night, and he wore jeans, sneakers, a full length, like floor length fur coat, and lots of rings. Here's the sea. Later on in life, he actually finally forewent all of his incredible fur coats and dedicated his estate, the entirety of his estate, to animal welfare. So Elephant House now is the home to cats. So there's the insects. Kind of charming, this one. He also won an award for doing the sets and the costume design for Dracula when it was on Broadway with Frank Langella playing Dracula. If you've ever seen either him, or if you've seen The Ninth Gate, Frank Langella's in that too. One of my favorite movies. The Ladder, vaguely menacing. The Tunnel. He hand inked all of these. Every little scritch was done by hand. And this one, the couplet that goes with this is, "The thing that you most fear, the end is drawing near." What else do we have? The Child, with some very elaborate wallpaper. You just know, looking at that wallpaper, that it is surely virulently green, because it is from the time of wallpaper being made green with arsenic, which they knew perfectly well was poisonous, but they just loved the color green so much that they let it kill them. The Feather. Again, it just looks like Carmel to me. The Ancestor. This basically looks like Edward Gorey himself. See, faceless. How interesting. Yes, this art is incredible. The Plant. Has vivid but shallow roots. The Bundle. How ominous is that? The Yellow Bird. How does it fly? Has no wings. The Urn. Urns, incidentally, play a role in a lot of his stories. Yes, they sure do. The Waltzing Mouse. That one just almost seems whimsical and not very menacing. If you've ever seen Amphigory, which is the alphabet that he made, which is trigger warning. It is an alphabet entirely of unfortunate ways that children met their demise, such as K is for Kate, killed with an axe. N is for Neville, who died of ennui. There's a kid who swallowed some tacks. But the art was great. The Stones. And the Écorché, which of course means the scorched one. So his art is just off the chain. And again, as a person who spends a lot of time deciding how to give people difficult information in a way that is useful and compassionate, the fact that this is just like, nope, leprosy, affliction, Tuesday, it is hilarious to me. So there was my my opportunity to share with you. Once again, this is the Fantod pack. I actually have two different versions of it. One because I hunted it down and bought it, and the other one because I found it in a free box because someone did not know how cool it was. So in the time that we have, if anyone would like to have their cards read, I'm happy to do that for you. Just get myself assembled. I'll have to share them up here because, of course, technology. Or I'll just read them and practice for tomorrow. So to review, for those of you that have been with us for a few weeks, again, my name is Madame Onça, and I am the artist and co-author of the World Spirit Tarot. I have big, exciting news about that, but I can't quite say anything yet. In another month. I am, however, about to start teaching a workshop series. Through the pandemic, probably the first 6 months, I taught just for free online for months. It was just a way to keep them going crazy and helping people by donation. Then I had to take a little break because months and months of staring at a screen got to be a lot. And so on the 8th of this month, which is Thursday night, I know you guys are probably all watching the Gothic Horror Show, but at 7 and at 8 o'clock, I'll be teaching tarot workshops if anybody wants to learn more stuff. And that is, as always, pay what you can. Tomorrow I'll be doing a live stream. I will be doing that at the beginning of every month, so long as good habit perpetuate, reading cards for the month and such like. What we've learned so far, to review for anybody who has been with us since the beginning of this particular series, we ACEs, the seed, the raw beginning, the pure potential of the situation. Be that a new project, be that a new relationship, be that a new way of seeing the world, be that a new way of managing your resources. Aces represent that raw potential. The twos come up when we are ready to do something with that potential. So all of our twos are baby steps. They are reaching out, figuring out how relationships work, how consequences work, how businesses work, how our good ideas collide with reality. Great. I will read for you in a few minutes, Bill. So twos are the way we begin to learn. Again, it's toddler steps. Three, that is us starting to get our stride. We get the threes and we go, oh, this is what happens if I live my life that way, if I put the time in, if I struggle, if I strive, if I emote, if I have ambition. Fours, stable, very relevant to what we've been talking about tonight, even more so. Fours are very stable. It's kind of a plateau. Sometimes it's a good plateau. Sometimes it feels a little stale, but in any case, you find a little calm spot in the busy sea of learning. Fives, chaos, everything is crazy. Six, renewed equilibrium, but with wisdom. Sevens is the card of radical evaluation. And then we find ourselves here tonight at eights. And that eight is the part where you have sort of a deepening or a quickening as we get more and more experienced. And I'm going to be personal with everybody. I have to say, when I was, was 15 and I was 25 and when I was 35, I think I thought I knew a lot more about the world than it turns out I did. I think the older I get, the more experienced I get, the more I realize it's not even just a matter of like, have you had time to read all the books or watch all the movies or learn all the martial arts? It's not even that kind of knowledge. The longer that I work with people, the longer that I parent, the longer that I struggle and strive as an artist, the longer that I am in relationship to my community, the more I find that I really don't know. I hope that I am learning to be a better person all the time, but it is continuously humbling to me. And whenever I know anybody who's, my age, who doesn't seem to have any kind of self-examination, I marvel at that because I am constantly going, why did I do that? What did I mean by that? Is that because of this? Is that person's behavior influenced by their life experience? Is that because of something systemic? Is that, I'm constantly looking at everything in terms of systems unfolding over time. And by systems, I mean everything to do with being a person. So if you are my age and of my generation and you don't have that experience, please let me know, because I personally feel like I'm continuously, it's as if I just got here. Yes. What does Bill say? Well, thank you very much. Bill says that I am an excellent person. Thank you. It's not a matter of like whether you're good or bad. I mean, it's just like the older I get, the more committed I am to the examination of why do people do things? And also the more likely I am to say, why does anyone do anything? You think you're good, what people are going to do. And the more, I guess I'm growing into the part of the sort of Buddhist detachment in the sense, hear me out. It's not that I'm detached because I feel very passionately, probably dangerously passionately about a lot of things, but I understand how you could arrive at a point of going, who knows? I've spent a whole lifetime trying to understand just myself. And it is a continual revelation. Now I'm the parent of these other people. And day by day you go, why would a person do that? Or, oh my gosh, I never would have thought of that. How did you arrive at that, right? It's a continual revelation. So maybe that is why, although I started out playing with tarot cards as a youngster because I thought they were just neat. And, at this point, I appreciate them in a different way. I have lots of rational tools, therapeutic tools, and so forth to understand why we do things. But I feel like the tarot gives us a different way to look at stuff. So anyway, hope that's useful. So Bill was going to get a reading. Let's see. And here I am facing the table as if you could see it. Best laid plans. Hey, Reverend Tommy. I was saying great things about you earlier. It's a good thing you weren't here at the beginning of this because everyone else is gone and I have struggled mightily to get through my first day of doing tech. You would have been rolling in your techie grave. But bit by bit, we get better. Okay, what can we do? All right. So take a deep breath for me, Bill, and help me get into these cards for you. Usually helps if you establish a time frame, So in this case, where it's like you have questions about your love life, about the romantic aspects of things, ever in the next week, in the next 6 months, you don't need to tell me, but it may help if you settle on a window. Is it this year? So think about that for a minute while I try to pull cards, and then I'm going to read Reverend Tommy's comments. Ooh, the cards are lively. By which I mean that they feel sort of hot and fizzly. Oh yeah, what do we have here? Let's see what we've got within the next year. Okay, and before I flip them, I'm going to check Tommy's comment. I had a meeting with my pirate crew discussing upcoming shows. Oh, is that meaning that's how you're just getting here now? Hi. Yeah, it was believe me, you missed a lot of me sharing deep personal things and train wrecking the technology. Okay, let's see what we've got here, Bill. There's our old friend. Interesting. Okay, my friend, I'm going to hold these up. I would like you to take a picture of them if you can. Maybe get your phone out if you've got something. So when I'm working with clients face-to-face or over the Zooms, I usually have them take pictures because that way you can refer to the materials later. You can either just put the image up on your screen and spend some time in sort of a passive meditative mode, put on some ambient music that you like and just take it in if you want to think of it about it in sort of a dream language way, or you can even go do some research. So what we have here, death, lovers, and the 8 of Pentacles. Like, what a lot of interesting stuff is going on there. So we'll start with the death card, because that, of course, always gets people's attention. Now, the death card, that's right, we haven't talked about majors at all on this show at all. So the death card is a card of radical transformation. The old books say, rarely a card of physical death. It's a card of burning up your old shit and building something new. So it is a card that, here, I'll hold it up for you a little bit more. So if you look in here, picture taken. So you can see here, and perhaps we've seen this in previous episodes, I don't remember. You can see there's the Grim Reaper themselves has fallen to the ground in grief for transition. There's the person sort of raging against transition. There's the person who is catatonic with their cup. There's a person sort of balled up, vulnerable. These are all different phases of grief, anger, acceptance, all of the things as we let go of old things, as we let go of old habits, as we let go of old programming, as we let go of old dynamics, any of those things. And as I may have mentioned in a previous episode, this card, you can see there's a figure there. That figure on the pyre is actually a friend of mine who died long ago. It's the first time I'd ever seen a dead human. And the phoenix is, of course, we get very focused on the loss, on the thing we're losing. We get fixated on our sense of who we are, or our sense of our role in the community, or our ego is wrapped up in our issues, whatever it is. And that Phoenix speaks to burning that shit up and making something new, like literally letting that energy sort of blast out into the universe. So, well, the death card, when it comes up, often feels like a painful transition, for which you have my empathy, because the death card, it sounds like work, feels like work. It is getting rid of old stuff, burning it up, and moving towards something better. So whatever sort of wreckage you might have in your past as far as this sort of thing goes, it suggests you've got the opportunity to move from it. Now, the fact that you've got the Lover's card, of course, is very auspicious in this context. But more interesting, so you've got the Death card, radical change. You've got the Lover's card, which speaks to raw potential, because it's about, it can be about romantic partnership, but it is also about finding like a livable balance in yourself, right? Because you're a lot easier to be around if you can find some balance in yourself. Therefore, you're not always going to other people to sort of make up for your deficits, right? So there's a call to arms for you to take action and find poise. But if the third card here was a hot mess, Bill, then I would worry, just because this is a lot, right? Hi, if you're just joining us, my name is Madame Onça, and this is a legit and bona fide for real tarot live stream that Nat 21 Adventures is gracious enough to host. I am a tarot artist and author and a general doof, and I'm happy to be joining this community here at Nat 21 Adventures talking about tarot stuff. So I'm doing a reading for one of our folks here who just got some very interesting cards. So if that third card, Bill, was a hot mess, then I would worry about this transition, but you got the Eight of Pentacles, which we've already talked about. This is a card of digging in, doing the work. It is about accomplishment. It is about mastery of self. It is about finding ourselves in right relationship with generations and community. So that's a good card. And it's right in the middle. So it creates this sort of interesting, it's almost like a seesaw. You could do a reading where you said, this card's about the past and this is about the present and this is about the future, whatever. That's like a fixed point kind of reading. But this isn't it. We, in this case, we just threw them out there. So you can interpret these in a variety of ways because they're tarot cards. Given that Eight of Pentacles in the middle, I want to suggest that this card asks you to do the work to decide, is it going to be more about lover or is it going to be more about death? Like you get to stand in the middle here of this balance and say, are you able to legitimately be, present and balanced and respectful and connected and able to be like in both passion and compassion, where it's not just about what you feel and want, but what other people feel and want, and move past whatever sort of damage you might have grown up with or, whatever life has done to us. So you've got this option on this side, and then that other card, which is, hopefully it is you moving away from something difficult and not a crash and burn scenario. So you can almost think of these, again, it's like a seesaw, and it's like, is it going this way? 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 So looks good to me, but it definitely suggests you've got work to do. The major arcanas are always trying to tell you big life lessons. The small, the minor cards are like, tell me a little bit about your day to day. Like the day to day is you do the work. The big stuff is really doing that deep personal work. So congratulations. And I hope that this plays out well for you as you are able to, as you're able to make that happen. Let's talk about this Lover's card for a second in a little bit more detail. You can see here, we have roses and lilies, which in the old cards represent passion and purity, respectively. I have issues with the terminology of purity because it's gotten tied up with the whole virginity business, which we are not about that because that is some propertarian bullshit. So I think of it as clarity, rather, like it's about, if you've ever smelled lilies, they are transportative. So we've got lilies and roses, hello, to represent that sort of thing. And then we've got, the little cherubs, that are here to bring the spirit of sort of playfulness. And you see the little guy in the corner here is doing the as above, so below hands that you see in so much alchemical art. He's going, look, like it is in heaven, because, heaven and earth, we're all connected. It's one big thing. And then up in the corners here, we see, here's Pan, who is my patron god here. And then we see Kuan Yin over here, who is the goddess of compassion and the hearth. So again, we find that mix of passion and compassion. Hi, Adam. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for being here. So yeah, it's all about finding a livable mix. A little bit, maybe a little bit more time if anybody else wants their cards done. Again, now that he's here, I'd like to thank Reverend Tommy for being in front of the camera, not just behind it today during creating with the crew, with everybody on the road. And, Echo is on the road, Paulo's on the road. Like there's, Shakespeare is getting ready to ship out with all the transitions that are happening. I'm really grateful that you were able to be there and put a face to the name. For anyone who wasn't there today, there were chickens, there was slumping glass. I don't even know what Adamo Ignis was working on because I was distracted by all of the cocktail conversation because Carmel was using her time to do some kitchen witchery. In fact, she made violet gin, and I made a violet gin and tonic. Twitch mod. Okay, so I have a good question here. Thank you. I love questions. Do you ever have times when the cards are not lively? Yes. Sometimes I do. This is the place where it gets woo-woo, right? I say this is the mushy place. Like Carmel doesn't feel that in her hands when she reads cards. For her, she gets the sort of a sense from like pull now, pull now. Different people get a different have a different approach. But so sometimes the cards feel kind of flat. It's like, this sounds silly, but it's like the cards aren't talking to me. And I'm like, hey, we're supposed to help somebody. You're like, it's like you've got a reticent dog. Like we have to go and the dog will not get up off the mat. When that happens, there's several things that I do. Because of course, the cards are pieces of paper. It's my brain or my sort of taproot that connects me. See, look, I'm Loon. It's the sort of taproot that connects me energetically to my my intuitive knowing, I guess you might say, that I need to oops. Sorry. Hold please. I'll be right there, Bill. Can't figure out how to make it stop. There we go. Sometimes I have a hard time connecting to the source, as it were, whatever that is, whatever you believe. Some people think it's angels or your subconscious or Satan, like, depending on your perspective, it's different things. For me, I feel like this part of my brain, like right above my reptilian brain, does the heavy lifting when it comes to intuitive things. So some of the things that I do, obviously not if I'm working with face-to-face with people, but with my own cards, I will actually put a little saliva in my palms right there, which is a thing I learned as a kid from reading about the Dogon in Africa, who are the fascinating group of people who their spiritual system has always included the knowledge that Sirius was not only the dog star, but that it was a binary star. And in the morning, those people, according to the text, would put saliva in their palms and raise their hands up to the sun when it came up. So they got some of that like cosmic vibe. So all those years ago as a kid, I was thinking about that. And I will put a little saliva in the palms of my hand. And what happens, of course, there's a temperature differential as it evaporates. And so I become sensitized to my hands. And I become aware of them as a person who tends to be in my head all the time. It helps me to arrive in my body. Now, of course, I'm not going to do that if I'm handing my cards to you, because then there's the whole, germ vector part. That's also why I rub my hands together and I work with clients, especially people who are anxious about the whole thing. They're kind of squicked out about tarot. Giving them something to do, they arrive in their hands. They kind of get more in their body, more in touch with their instincts, a little less apologetically hostessy, and it's easier for them to find things. So sometimes the cards are kind of flat and I have to really say, hey, I need some help here. Let's see what Reverend Tommy has to say. Yes, a guy trying to do his part and help out. What did he say? Oh, I did my work earlier too, prepping Melissa's show tomorrow. Oh, right. If you would like to share the information, Tommy, about the Gothic horror stuff in here, I know I probably have access to the branding stuff here, but I'm honestly already awash trying to manage banners and things. I'm getting there. Oh, and Bill says he wrote some science fiction today, some fan fiction today. Oh, great. Yes, I know that you're a writer. Thank you for sharing that. That's really great. And may I say, as Tommy was talking about his expensive glass and May is talking about her expensive embroidery machines, and of course, our lives are fraught with all of this equipment. On some level, I appreciate and envy that you have uh, a less thing intensive, like your skill, your superpowers are in your brain and in your hand and in your stylus, rather than require a printing press and so forth. Well, are there any other questions from the people? We've had an hour. Of course, I know I lost the first 5 or 7 minutes just struggling with the internets. But yeah, if there's any other questions or anything, let me know. I'm happy to have shared the Fantod pack with you, um, my own deck, and also the other traditional deck that I shared with you today. So the most well-known deck in history at this moment in time is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I talk about it every week because it is a fundamental it's kind of like if you do D&D and you've never looked at the Dungeon Master's Guide, then you may be playing D&D, but you're kind of missing something. That deck is like that. It is the Rider-Waite-Smith, RWS. So this is the Radiant Wise Spirit. Kind of a cheesy name, but what happened was this is the Rider-Waite deck. They just kind of updated the images and made them the originals. The printing job was very simplistic and poor, and then they were destroyed by bombings in one of the wars. So we don't have a better version of any of the originals. So this is an artistic revisioning of the ancient deck. You can see with a much more nuanced. It's like a person who was really good with colored pencils got in there. Hence the name Radiant Wise Spirit. See, it's RWS, like Rider-Waite-Smith. So when I'm going to work with kind of muggle clients, I might say, I will use this deck where my deck might be a little too pagan-y, might be a little too multiculturally. If my deck might be a bit too much, this is very nice, presentable deck for more of a, and it's kind of timeless. Like if I was doing a some sort of a bougie Great Gatsby corporate party or something like that, like this art can blend in to that sort of setting. I will say a couple of these cards, where did it go, are a little provocative. Let's see. Oh, now it's going to hide. I mean, come on. This deck was made by Catholic mystics, but every once in a while they took a turn and got a little saucy. But it's not my sauce; it's historic sauce, so I can use it in the context of like a corporate gig. And it has this lovely background, which basically looks like everything Carmel wears ever. I wear black. Carmel wears everything else. And Bill says my other hobbies require expensive things. Oh yeah, stage combat. Yeah. Oh, I think that's it. I really appreciate everybody being here. Again, unless you have any specific questions for me, I do anticipate being back next week to do nines. And Tiddles, you don't need to come in here right now. I definitely know that we'll get through the minors, and then we'll see if y'all are interested. We'll keep pushing on, but of course, the major arcana is a whole big thing. That's a lot of material. So I'd love being here for y'all. If anybody wants to throw a donation in the old donation can, you know where to find me. But I'm also just happy. Miners, you lost me. I mean, you didn't actually lose me, but that's the line, right? Miners, you lost me. Feel free to throw something in the tip jar if you want to. That's up to you. Tomorrow, again, I will be doing I'll be doing a live stream starting at 10 Eastern time, and that will be I will be reading cards for all of the people. I anticipate that may actually be a couple hours long. We'll see how the day goes. There's totally a cat in a tuxedo banging on the door. Just 2 more minutes, Tiddles. And then I've got classes, course of classes coming up on the 8th. And yeah, I think that's it. I know we all have big plans for keeping it rolling. And I'm sorry that I won't be able to be at the Gothic Horror game. I had to pick a time to teach. Nat 21 is so busy. I got to teach and parrot and fit it all in. Thank you all so much. My name is Madam Onça, and I really appreciate you all. I'm going to try to figure out how to use the technology to see myself out. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye.